Well, hello everyone, this is Joe Drums coming to you. I hope everybody out there is doing great. I'm doing great. It's a brand new year, 2026. Here we go. Got a brand new book that we're going to be getting into. This is Drums 2 Songbook 1. And the very first song out of the book is Back in the USSR by the Beatles, of course. It's off the White Album. And basically, when we're playing this, we have to realize that something happened during the recording of this, and one of the things was Ringo was out on vacation with Peter Sellers. I think the story goes that there kind of was some heated debate with what was going on in the studio. Ringo got tired of it. He says, I'll be back later. You guys just take care of it. And he went off on a boat with Peter Sellers. And in the meantime, Paul McCartney was sitting around going, well, I want to record something. I'm going to record my song, and I'm going to play the drums. So on this song, Paul McCartney played the drums. It wasn't Ringo. However, some of the fills and stuff, I like to do it in the Ringo style. So we'll still kind of think of Ringo, but we know it's Paul McCartney doing the song. So one of the things I want to mention is on this song, we're going to go over some of the fills, not the whole song. I'm going to go through, because a lot of the beats and stuff, if you've been following me on some of these other books that I've been doing, the drums, the fast track drums method, they're really good. They're really informative. And if you already know how to do some of that stuff, I'm not going to get into the basic beats. I'm going to go over the fills and things that might be tricky throughout this song that you might have to practice a couple of things, and I'll show you how to practice them the correct way. So first of all, if you notice in the very beginning of it, it starts off with a hi-hat with the left foot playing, and the floor tom's playing along with the left foot, and they're kind of droning together. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 3 and 4 and like that. And then the bass and snare comes in. Now the first thing that you want to do, if you try to do all the bass, the snare, the floor tom, the hi-hat, that's 4 things going on at once. If you can't do that just yet, then just try to practice the floor tom and hi-hat. Put those down. When that becomes comfortable, then add the bass and snare, which are bass on 1 and 3, snare drum on 2 and 4. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you put them together, it should sound like this. Now, the first thing it does after it comes out of that, it goes right into a fill on the first tom. And we're going to play that first tom fill right here. It's the very first line, the last measure. It goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and. And notice there's a hi-hat with the foot again underneath. So it goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Take it back one more time. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Do it again. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, so that's the fill. So practice that, get that comfortable, and then put it into the song once you get it comfortable. The second fill that's kind of tricky is on the 1, 2, 3, the fourth line, the very first measure, and that's just before the letter C section of the song. Again, we have hi-hats playing 8 notes. The first one plays with the hi-hat, first plays with the bass drum, and then the rest of them are on the tom. Now the tom fill goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'll do that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. While the hi-hat's playing 8 notes. So again, you got 2 things going on, a little tricky. Be careful, do it slow first, and then try to bring it up to speed. So 8 notes, 1 and 2 and 3, and I'm going to be doing 16ths coming up in a minute here. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Now all I have to do is put the bass in, and I got the fill. Let me do that one. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and bass. And then it goes to a regular beat. All right, at the last part of that line, on the last measure, it does something a little kind of tricky on the snare, so you just got to play it 1, 2, 3, and 4, and up. Okay, so it does a little quick fill there. And then it stops on the next measure with the bass and the snare. So just 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then pop, stop. Okay? We're going to go on to page 2, and at the last measure of page 2, it does a little floor tom with the snare drum, 8th notes. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, I'll play that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Again, the last measure on the second line on the second page does a beat and then the fill on the first tom. The first tom fill is going to be 3 and a 4 and. 3 a 4 and. That's a real short fill. So it's with the beat, 1 and 2 and 3 a 4 and. Okay, third line. Now we've got some beats playing here. We're playing just a regular beat, but then it goes into a quarter notes on the bass drum and 8 notes with the hi-hat on the hi-hat and snare only. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The last one they leave off the snare, not the last one, but the second to the last one. They leave the snare off and they play a snare drum right there on the last one. Next one, here's the kind of a, like I know Paul McCartney played this fill, but Ringo kind of would have played it like this. He would have played left stick on the snare, then right, left on the tom, and then back with the right stick on the snare, left with the tom again, and then right with the floor tom. Because remember, Ringo only had the 2 toms playing with the snare and the bass, so it was basically a 4-piece set. So we'll play that, and again, notice underneath, there's the hi-hat again, 8 notes playing again with your foot. So we're going to start that off, and it'll sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, I'll do that one more time. 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then it goes into a regular beat there. All right, let's talk about the third page, and this is the last part of the page before we go back, it goes back to the beginning again. But then it comes back with the coda sign. So basically you get this on the very first line, second measure, you get a big fill. So it's 1 with the hi-hat, snare, and bass, and then it goes and 2E, on 3E, and a 4E, and. So 1 and 2E, on 3E, and a 4E, and. Okay, now we're going to do the second line, and it is a fill at the beginning and a fill at the end. The first fill on this is bass, snare, 3 and 4 and then the next measure goes 1 with the bass, and then the hi-hat with the foot on 2 and 3 and 4 and. So here's what it sounds like. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then back to the beat. I'll do that one more time. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and back to the beat. Alright, and then the last fill, there's no hi-hat at the bottom with the foot, so all you have to do is just hit hi-hat and bass, and then the rest of it's all snare. So it's 1 and 2E, and 3E and a 4E and. 1 and 2E and 3E and a 4E and. And then it goes back, because we're at the DSL coda, so we want to look for the fancy S, which is back at page 2, the second line, where it says letter D by the bridge. We play that, and then we go down to coda. We switch over to the coda, and we got these last 4 lines. You'll notice that the one fill on the third line down from that coda is the second measure. We're going to play floor tom with the hi-hat. You're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. No bass drum, just the hi-hat with the left foot. So you got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then it goes back to the beat. Play that, and then the last one we go 1, and then they've got it written as hi-hat and bass. Well, I'm going to throw in a crash. I like to throw a crash in at the end, so it's like. And I even put the snare drum in at the end. Not that big of a deal. Alright, I went through the whole song. Let's take a look at it now from beginning to end. And here is Back in the USSR by the Beatles, Paul McCartney playing drums. Here we go.